Hey guys, welcome back to Caffeinated Comic Books. I am your host, the King of Caffeine, Monarch of the Mocha, and Ruler of the Roast. If you hear a fan in the background, it's the heater. Cause I'm in the Pacific Northwest, and right now, it's cold as all hell outside right now. I mean, it can get colder, and it probably will get colder. I really hope not, but it might. With wind chill, it's like 20 degrees outside. That's like freeze your nuts off cold. So rather than turn into a human popsicle, I choose life. I choose warmth. Heater's running. So I'm sorry if the noise is a little distracting. I really hope it's not. I don't think it's too loud. But today, we are getting into... What's this? What's this? What's this? Another number one of Captain Marvel. Because we haven't learned from the previous 8 times that this book has been canceled and relaunched. Unless what they're doing is trying to run multiple Captain Marvel books simultaneously. I mean, you might want to try just making one stick first. I mean, Spider-Man gets away with it. You got The Amazing Spider-Man. Well, we had Spectacular Spider-Man. But now Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. We have Superior Spider-Man. Technically not the same character. But Spider-Man can get away with it. Spider-Man's a character that is very beloved. Captain Marvel, not so much. Kind of, maybe. Yeah, really not so much. So yeah, I did a review on the other number one for Captain Marvel a month or two ago, and that book was no good. The art in it was okay. The coloring felt out of place, but the dialogue was miserable. It was typical SJW writing where people don't sound like humans because SJWs don't human very well. In fact, they're just plain bad at it. Now, this book, I'm going to get this out there up front. This book overall was okay. It was not good. I will go on record and say it was not good. You got to do better than okay, Marvel. Captain Marvel, Braver and Mightier. The art in it was actually good. It was nice to look at. Though, interestingly enough, I felt the color palette was a little too vibrant, which isn't something I would normally complain about, especially in a Marvel book. But the color palette that's used here on this cover is far afield from that which is used in here. Much, much brighter blue here. And a lot more so further in. The basic premise in this book is Carol Danvers is up above Earth's atmosphere, kind of staring down, playing chicken, if you will, if you remember that schoolyard game. They probably don't let kids play that anymore in school. Technically, I don't think they ever truly let us do it. We just kind of did it and didn't necessarily get busted for it. But Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, is staring down an armada of these things. Lots of spiky warships. Something we probably don't want landing on our planet. Captain Marvel is going to attempt to stop it. Cool. Simple enough. And then kind of the side story, or rather the simultaneously running story within the story, is we've got these two, I'm going to presume, high schoolers. They might have mentioned where they're at schooling-wise in the book, but I, honest to God, couldn't care enough to remember. They are essentially reporters in training. Not necessarily reporters in training, rather they're wanting to be reporters, and they are getting the rare opportunity and the privilege of being able to go ahead, so in front of the line, something in SJWs really love, front of the line, in front of all the actual reporters and the actual press, and they get to ask Captain Marvel a question or two, something to that effect. And all the other press people aren't exactly thrilled about that. But first, in order for them to interview Carol, she actually has to be here. And that's a little more difficult to do when she's facing down an armada of hostile aliens. So again, straightforward enough. The kids here, they've got some moderately human banter back and forth. It's an interesting enough story. We get a lot of inner monologue from Carol here, something that, SJW books tend to be wrought with. Though I don't know if I would classify this particular book, this issue here, Braver and Mightier #1, as an SJW book. Now, there's a couple reasons for that. Carol, in her inner monologue, actually does some self-reflection. Now, self-reflection is not something that is concomitant with social justice warriors, nor most Marvel characters these days, period. I guess that could extend to some DC as well, but we're focused on Marvel here. And she's getting knocked around a little bit as well, which is nice to see. I mean, we don't like to see our heroes lose, that's for sure. But we want to see them struggle. That's the hero's struggle, right? That's part of the story, part of the draw. And if a hero never struggles, well, they're just a Mary Sue. And nobody likes a Mary Sue. No real human likes a Mary Sue. But again, the art is clean in this book. I actually very much enjoyed the art. We get some more dialogue between the two. What they're trying to do is they're trying to figure out, okay, so we have 1 or 2 questions that we get to ask Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, a superhero, one of the Avengers. What are we going to ask her? We only get 1 shot to get this right. And so they're going back and forth trying to figure out, okay, well, what kind of a question are we going to ask her? We don't want it to be something stupid, but something that they say that's kind of funny. Well, maybe we should ask a stupid question just to piss off these other press people, just kind of, I guess, troll them by asking her a silly question, something to that effect. I forget which page it was on, but one of these pages, one of the panels, they're like, well, maybe we should just ask a dumb question just to watch them squirm because we got to go in front of them and this was the question that we chose. But ultimately, they decide something a little more reflective. But again, we've got decent action here of Carol doing some butt kicking while simultaneously getting her butt kicked, a little bit back and forth. This is actually a cool panel, though the hand looks a little strange, but I'm not going to complain about it because I couldn't draw half that well. That looks bad, and I think she says that verbatim or something paraphrasing that. But yeah, they decide on their question, and she's like, okay, I had some fun dealing with this. I got places to be. Better places to be, here is what she says. And she, don't want to show it all. The copyright gods. Yeah, so here we are. Finally, they're getting the chance to interview her. And this is what their question is. Now, their question is it's a very easy thing in terms of, what can we ask? What can we ask? This is something that, you read about in stories all the time. And it's, if you could go back in time, what advice would you give to your younger self? Now, on the surface, that's a question that's been done, right? This is something that's been done in stories, it's been done in movies, it's been done in television, all sorts of things. Anything, especially where time travel is involved, or someone who has reached some sort of pinnacle, some sort of zenith of either power or renown or fame, whatever, fortune, you name it, this question has been asked of that type of an individual. However, here, in the context of this book, and especially with regards to Carol Danvers, who Marvel just seems clinically and chronically incapable of making into a likable character again, they ask her that, and she thinks about it, And she'd say, I tell her she's right, referring to her younger self. And she says, right about what? Well, about everything. The dreams that you have, everything that you want to do, everything that you're trying to do. You were told that you couldn't do it. You're right, and they're wrong. You're going to be able to do it. You're going to be able to do it well. And there's a little bit of funny here, she says, they're wrong, so the doubters, and she's right, younger Carol. And they say, is there anything you'd warn her about? She goes, no, that's a second question. But no, I don't think that I would. And this right here was the truly interesting part. That she said, no, I don't think I would. She wouldn't warn her younger self. Now, why is that? Brace yourself. Aside from messing with the time stream, I'd be messing with everything that makes me me. We're the sum of our triumphs and, in bold, and our tragedies. I've lost a lot over the years, people who meant the world to me, pieces of myself. And what's cool here is that we're seeing, different variations of Carol over the years. We're seeing as she was, in the Air Force. We're seeing young Carol, probably a teenager, young girl, adolescent. Then we're seeing Ms. Marvel, first costume, glorious, love it. Then we're seeing Binary here, also cool. I as an old school through early 2000s Miss Marvel, Carol Danvers fanatic, it kind of gave me goosebumps, and you can hate me all you want for it, to look at this panel and see her classic suits. And seeing Binary, it's like, holy crap, she's got more energy in her than, the universe knows what to do with. But I've done a heck of a lot of good too, and all those lives are not something worth risking. And ends with my favorite costume, Miss Marvel costume, early 2000s. Well, actually, it was introduced way, way before that, but she had it up through the early 2000s, I should say. So no, I wouldn't warn her about any of it, good or bad. I just tell her that her wish comes true. She really does get to fly. Now that's referring back to her being in the Air Force and being, you're a female pilot. You're not gonna do great things, but she does do great things. And that there was always no, it's actually really pretty right there. But yeah. So the book was okay. It sounds like I'm really praising it, and in a way I am, and in a way I'm not. I guess in the way that I am, it's that it's not shoving something down my throat. Carol is actually self-reflective to a degree. I mean, we got some work to do, Marvel. But Jody Houser, off to an okay start, but we're taking the easy way out here. So taking the easy way out doesn't make you good. It just means that you weren't willing to risk being terrible. So in that regard, I'm not praising it. Right. The art, however, Simon Bonfantino? Yeah, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I really liked the art, actually. I really did. I wish more current books, specifically in Marvel, were as clean as the art in this one was. Again, I am a little bothered that the blue on her costume was so bright, but I mean, that's admittedly a nitpick, if I'm being completely honest. And I know it was bright here as well, but this is this pastel. It just looks weird. I darken that blue, and we're Gucci. We're good. So yeah, it was okay. Miss Marvel has always been about female empowerment. Now, some people could try and make the argument that it was always, fight for women's rights. Carol Danvers. That's not the case. She was definitely about female empowerment. She was definitely about being a strong female protagonist, but it was first and foremost being a strong protagonist and being someone interesting, someone that readers could get invested in. And that should always come first and foremost. Okay, cool. She's a female. Good character first, female second, everything else follows, right? You want first and foremost always to have a good, likable, or hateable character, so that it's that heel heat as well. So a good villain should make you hate their guts, like you love to hate them, you want to hate them, and that means they're written well. So I am going to check out issue number 2 on this, and I will get back to you guys whenever that comes out and let you know if it either went up in quality, stayed consistently, safe and okay. Again, okay isn't great. You want great, or even good. I would take good. Or if it just drops and it becomes like every other Captain Marvel book since after, I think Brian Reed's run in the early 2000s. I think the first issue of Kelly Sue DeConnick's Captain Marvel was okay as well, and then it went just from there. But anyway, guys, let me know down in the comments what you thought of the video. Let me know if you picked up this book. I know I do a lot of Captain Marvel bashing, a lot of Carol Danvers bashing, and a lot of Brie Larson Carol Danvers bashing. And there's a good reason for that, because I was a massive fan of the character, and I still am a massive fan of Miss Marvel, the real Ms. Marvel, Carol Danvers. So yeah, hit the like button, hit subscribe if you're not subscribed. There's the real Ms. Marvel. Ring the bell for notifications, and I will see you guys in the next one.